Now supply.
Honda will get a 20% increase in the number of Accords for the U.S. next year. Honda itself does not condone or encourage the prices being charged for the Accord, but there's nothing they can do, so they say. In any case, no one is dragging anyone into the showrooms and forcing them to buy what appears to be a very good car. That's a look at today's business for Friday. Have a nice July 4th weekend. Paul and Kelly will be back with more news right after this.
Business Today has been brought to you by Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith, Incorporated.
Los Angeles investors, I have 3 questions for you. 1, who spends $9 million a year on securities research? 2, who can speed that research to you on a global information network? 3, who spends $14 million a year training its account executives? You know who. In Los Angeles, there are lots of investment firms, but there's only one Merrill Lynch.
Patrick Kearney and David Hill, suspects in a series of 8 grisly murders in Southern California over the past 2 years, turned themselves into authorities in Riverside County today. NewsCenter4's John Marshall has more on the reasons the suspects surrendered.
The suspects walked into the sheriff's department and found the complaint desk. They spotted their pictures on a wanted poster on the wall and said to the clerk, "That's us." The clerk called an investigator who took the 2 men to jail where they were booked. The surrender came as no surprise to the sheriff's department.
We had been in contact, or rather the investigators from the department had been in contact with the family. And we were fairly well assured by the family that because of the publicity through the news media, and that's one thing I want to really make a point of, is that we feel that it was this publicity that made them determine that there was a real dragnet out for them, and that they did want to give themselves up, so they had indicated it to the family, and the family passed the information on to us.
The suspects will spend the weekend in the county jail. Then on Tuesday morning, they'll be moved to the municipal courthouse just across the street, where they'll be arraigned on murder charges. From Riverside, John Marshall, NewsCenter4.
Finally tonight, here's a sight you don't see too often here in Southern California. People walking slowly, reverently on a religious pilgrimage.
With all of the cars and trucks roaring past, it is difficult to imagine the Pacific Coast Highway as a suitable place for prayer and meditation. But 2 young Buddhist monks have made a vow to spend the next year and a half on this roadway, conducting their search for inward peace.
Their meditation pilgrimage began at the Gold Wheel Temple in Pasadena on May 7th. Before it is over, they will have walked more than 500 miles to the city of 10,000 Buddhas near Ukiah. Along the journey, Hung Sure has vowed to bow to the ground in full prostration every 3 steps.
What we're trying to do is spend a little time praying and meditating and working hard to get rid of our own greed and anger and stupidity, and hopefully influence other people to work together to end suffering of all kinds, and especially wars and the creation of destructive weapons. There's an old Buddhist saying that says, "Bitter work, sweet mind." And to walk along the beaches would be very easy, and there'd be no accomplishment from that. Wherever we can find a place to stay that we're not breaking the laws and we're not going to afflict anybody, that's where we stay and sleep five hours or so, and then get up and go on some more. People have been very, very kind to us. As Buddhists, we don't solicit and we're not allowed to beg. We never ask for anything. And every day that we've been out, people from the communities that we pass through have come out with vegetables and rice and fruit and nuts and juices and water. And since we only eat once a day at noon, it doesn't take a whole lot to sustain us.
Have there been thoughts of perhaps turning back or picking up a ride along the way?
Both of those have been offered and suggested, and we have no thought of turning back. We only have thoughts of going forward and working harder.
Hung Sure and Hung Chow will not set any speed records. They only cover about 2 miles a day while walking and meditating, but they seem unconcerned with that progress. They're concentrating totally on their spiritual progress. From Malibu, Boyd Matson, NewsCenter4.
That's the early edition of News Center 4. John Schubeck will be back with his entire crew at 11 o'clock for the late news. Meanwhile, you be careful now and have yourself a wonderful 4th of July weekend. And don't forget, if you get a little lonesome, Paul and I will be here the whole weekend for the Sunday show.
Wrong.
And the news on Monday.
No, I finagled
Wrong?
a couple of days off. I have Sunday and Monday off.
How'd that happen?
Well, I got some heat with the guys upstairs. And they promised me 2 days off, and I'm getting them.
Do you think they'll give them to me?
I doubt it.
Here are the people that make this program possible.
Good night.
Leonard Nimoy goes in search of Atlantis, 7:30 Saturday. This is a reply to a Channel 4 editorial in favor of building the Century Freeway. Disagreeing with KNBC is Brent Rushforth, an attorney for the Center for Law and the Public Interest.
KNBC argues that because $175 million has been spent to acquire property for the proposed Century Freeway, over $1.5 billion more should be spent to complete the job. That's pouring good money after bad. It would make the 17-mile freeway the most expensive ever built, over $40 million per mile. Sometimes it's better to walk away from a bad deal. We think that time has come for the Century Freeway. The Century Freeway never did make sense. Its only possible purpose is to bring Orange County residents to the Los Angeles airport, and that job can be handled by the Artesia and San Diego freeways and the Imperial Highway. Furthermore, the money already spent need not be lost. The property acquired and cleared for the right-of-way can be sold for private development and used for other public purposes. What we need now is positive leadership from the governor. During his campaign and administration, he recognized the futility of further freeway construction in the Los Angeles basin. His opposition to the Century Freeway